Hey everyone, welcome to the Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It is Friday. It's June 6th. It is 2025. We have a 12-game MLB slate to talk about here on today's podcast. Actually recording Friday morning, which is very unusual, but had a super busy Thursday and Thursday night, so wasn't able to get to the podcast last night. And I know that some of you like to listen on your way to work and stuff, so I apologize for that. Yeah, timing just wasn't working out for me, but excited to do a morning podcast. I'm semi awake. My kids woke me up early, so got my free Dunkin' Donuts donut and my Dunkin' Donuts sweet tea. If you're from the South, you get me. I'm not a coffee person. But yeah, here to talk about the 12 game slate. Easy in chat. Good morning to you as well, AJ. Morning treat. Good morning to you. Yeah, I mean, I don't typically do these in the morning, but I'm gonna try to be more just consistent on like 3 to 4 days a week. Um, like I talked about when I said I was restarting the morning grind, and I was like, we'll do it this morning because it just wasn't happening last night. I had so much NASCAR work to catch up on, and started breaking down this slate this morning, and I was like, I'm gonna do the podcast. I have not had matcha. I did sweet tea instead of matcha today. I don't have a crazy day today, so I didn't do matcha. I did sweet tea. But let's get into the 12 games. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button over there on YouTube, youtube.com/@morninggrind, and help the channel continue to grow. I appreciate it. I'm closing in on 2,000 subscribers over there. So I was thinking of like a fun giveaway for 2,000. So I'll think of something. Maybe it's like a minor league baseball hat or something like that. Boston at New York is where we get started. 9 total in this game. Yankees a 170 favorite. We got Buehler and Warren facing off against each other. Walker Buehler, I mean, he has had games where he's pitched well, but overall, really just one or two ceiling games or one or two like good games this season in general. His strikeout rate is way down from where he was at a few years ago. He's at 21.1%, which is an upgrade from last year. And he's doing a little bit better of limiting power to lefties this year, but still giving up a ton of hard contact. You look at this matchup and you're like, the Yankees got to really be able to attack them. Below average strikeout pitchers typically don't do well against the Yankees. Plus, it's in Yankee Stadium. Just a lot of negatives for a guy with very little upside. So, don't see myself getting to the Walker Buehler in this game. Did I see Halliburton last night? Yeah, that was a wild game. Other side here, we got Will Warren. So, Will Warren has been someone I've played quite a bit this year in good strikeout spots. I mean, he has a ton of upside. He's a really, really solid strikeout pitcher. At least 7 strikeouts in 5 of his last 6 games. Last game out against the Dodgers, really kind of struggled in that one. Sitting at a 29.7% strikeout rate. And if you look a little bit into like Will Warren's numbers, like he's getting very unlucky to start the season. His BABIP is like 341. Some of his expected stats are a little bit better. So I think Will Warren's actually pitched a little better than his stats kind of suggest. His biggest struggle is command and power to lefties, which definitely bothers him in this matchup with the Red Sox. Duran, Devers, Abreu, Marcelo. I don't know if I put Toro there yet, even though Toro's been hitting good to start the year. I don't know if I believe it yet. So I think Will Warren is an interesting large field tournament play. I don't think he's someone you'd be looking at in like single entries, but I think he's someone you're looking at in large field tournaments here. strikeout ability, but don't sleep on the Red Sox lefties. So let's talk about them. I think when you're looking at the Red Sox, you're looking at the top three: Duran, Devers, Abreu. Could potentially play Marcelo. You could potentially play Toro if you want to go full stack here. Will Warren's been really solid outside of a couple really bad outings. So I think it'd be just kind of taking the top half of the Red Sox lineup here. That's where the platoon and splits seem to be the advantage. On the Yankees side, I always like stacking against Walker Buehler. I mean, he has these games where he just goes out there and he does not pitch well. So looking at a stack, like Buehler can give up home runs in bunches too, and he can give up runs in bunches. Like I said, he had that stretch where he was pitching a little bit better. I think if you're looking at the Yankees, basically everybody is in play with like, I don't love Goldschmidt as much against right-handed pitching. His ISO is like 81 against right-handed pitching, 289 WOBA. Paul Goldschmidt is against lefties only for me, so he'd be the one that I'd be leaving out of my stack, him and LeMahieu, so they'll probably both home run, but typically I think everybody else is in play. Volpe does strike out a little bit more against right-handed pitching, so I don't love him as much. So overall for me, both teams in play. Will Warren, potential large field tournament play here. Arizona at Cincinnati, 9.5 total. This game's a pick'em game. We got Eduardo Rodriguez coming back from the IL, going up against Nick Lodolo in this one. So Erod, he was a hand or elbow. I think it was a hand injury or shoulder or something like that. They did say that like he threw a little bit at the Arizona complex, but I don't think he actually threw too much. Like I know he threw like a rehab start, but I don't think he went to like AAA and like did it. So don't know what to expect like pitch count wise from Erod in this spot. The good thing for Eduardo Rodriguez in this matchup is Cincinnati is not very good against left-handed pitching. So that is a huge plus to him. The other plus is like Hayes is banged up on the IL, so he's not going to be in there, and that's one of their bats that is really good against left-handed pitching. Marte is still on the IL. So, yeah, I mean, overall. And then, yeah, so Ellie De La Cruz probably not going to play this game either with him going on the bereavement list. Could be a really good matchup for Erod. But do we trust it? I mean, that's the thing. Like, do we really trust him coming off the IL? He's cheap enough that you could potentially take shots here. This lineup, like I said, not great against left-handed pitching with potentially no De La Cruz as well. I think in tournaments, it said, I found a report. That's what I was trying to do. I found a report that he threw 4 2/3 in the Arizona Complex League. I could see taking some tournament shots on Erod if you're playing large field. Know the risk, but this lineup's going to come out and we're going to be like, oh man. Connor Joe probably hits like 4th or 5th in this lineup today. So, yeah. You look at it and you're like, this lineup's going to be really bad. We'll talk about, there's 1 or 2 bats that I like that we'll talk about. But yeah, I mean, I think in large field stuff, you could potentially take some shots on Erod. Just know the risk of pitch count and his struggles with power this season. Maybe the IL stint on his shoulder helped. Looking at the other side here, Nick Lodolo. I don't like pitchers against Arizona. I definitely prefer left-handed pitchers against Arizona if I was going to play pitchers against them. But Nick Lodolo is a below average strikeout pitcher this season, and his stats suggest like his whiff rate and his swinging strike rate definitely make him a lot lower strikeout pitcher than he was last year. He throws a lot of strikes. He does a decently good job of limiting power. Don't think I want to play him in this matchup against Arizona. I think this is a tough matchup, especially in this ballpark. But Nick Lodolo continues to be like a really solid real life pitcher. Just DFS wise, I don't think he has a ton of upside. Bats against Lodolo. I mean, you can always play Gurriel, Suarez, Grichuk, that like 3-man right there in the middle half of the lineup. The bottom half, not great. The top half, like Marte, you could potentially. I like Marte a lot more when he hits from the right side or the left side of the plate than the right side. Carroll, lefty, I don't hate it. Lodolo throughout his career has been excellent against left-handed hitters, so I think it'd be Gurriel, Suarez, Grichuk on a 3-man type of stack for Arizona in this ballpark, or just kind of chasing some home run power against Lodolo in this ballpark. As far as the Reds bats, Tyler Stevenson at catcher continues to hit left-handed pitching well. We saw this last year. He's under 4K over there on DraftKings, 3,600. Think he is a really solid catcher option that probably gets a decent amount of ownership today. Outside of that, I mean, Steer, he's been awful against lefties this year. Like I said, Connor Joe's going to be in there. Like Matt McLean has really struggled against lefties this year. So I think it's like Stevenson. That's really it for me. Trevino, if Stevenson doesn't catch it or they both catch, you could potentially take some shots on Trevino. But they're so close in price that if they're both in the lineup, I think I'd prefer just paying up for Stevenson. Houston at Cleveland, 8.5 total. Cleveland a 125 favorite in this one. We got Colton Gordon going up against Logan Allen. Colton Gordon, we've seen him enough now to kind of get an idea. He has some strikeout upside, but he doesn't miss bats. Really good against lefties, really bad against righties. And the problem with him in this matchup is they probably hit 8 right-handed hitters against him. I assume they play Stephen Kwan. So we're going to get 8 righties. I think that's just too many righties. I mean, you can look at his stats, 28% Ks with a 0 ISO and a 248 WOBA against lefties, 78% ground balls against lefties. And then you go to righties, 22.5% Ks, 286 ISO, 385 WOBA, only a 29.5% ground ball rate to righties. So we'll talk about the Cleveland bats in just a second, but no real interest in Gordon and no interest really in Logan Allen. I mean, this is a guy below average strikeout pitcher, 17% Ks, a 5.8% strikeout to walk ratio, which is awful. So just no real upside here for Logan Allen in this matchup against a team full of right-handed hitters, and don't really expect him to go too deep in this game. I would assume he goes like 80, 85 pitches. Looking at the bats for Houston, I mean, Altuve, Pena, Paredes, Diaz, Walker. I know Christian Walker has really struggled against lefties this season. I think by the end of the season, like we see his numbers come closer to what we're used to for Christian Walker against lefties. So I still am holding out hope that he's going to hit left-handed pitchers better. Cam Smith has been really good against lefties this year. So I think we're looking at the Houston bats in this game on the road in Cleveland, guaranteed that 9th inning. And they're just full of righties. I mean, and they're not overly expensive. I mean, Pena is 44, Paredes is 43, Altuve is 42, Walker's 37, Diaz is 35, Smith is 3K. So I think overall, this is a spot you could play these Houston righties, just a good spot, and they're not overly expensive, and Allen is beatable. And then the other side, I mean, Gordon is very beatable with these righties too. So Martinez, he's a switch hitter. Ramirez, who's a switch hitter. Both of these guys have power from the right side of the plate. So I have interest in them. I know Noel has struggled this season, but with this guy being the guy, he's just such a big power guy. I think you chase a home run with Noel here. I think he's still pretty cheap, right? Yeah, he's 2,300. I think you could chase a home run here. I mean, you're chasing a home run. He's likely to hit a home run or strike out twice or 3 times, but I like the potential for home runs here. David Fry is someone throughout his career that has been really solid against lefties. Had like a 279 ISO, 420 WOBA against lefties last season. So Fry, who is just starting to come back, he's only 3K, and you can play him at catcher or first base. So coming back from an elbow injury, I think he should be in the lineup. He probably hits 4th or 5th here. So again, I like both sides of this game. The right-handed hitters on both sides of this game. It seems like a lot of potential for both teams. We got the Cubs and the Tigers. Cubs and the Tigers. I never get to watch live at night. I thought something was wrong with Stevie at first, and I realized he's not at 1.25 speed. I've never listened to myself sped up. I have to do that one day. I have to try that out. I haven't tried that out. Larry, thanks for being here. What's up, chat? I'm looking at. I haven't been looking at chat. What's up, chat? A lot of people in chat. Love it. Thanks for hanging out. I debated on doing this in the morning or not, and decided I was going to do it. So, all right, we got Cubs at Detroit. Ben Brown, Tariq Skubal. This game is interesting. It has a 7 total. The Tigers are a 190 favorite. 1.25 is actually perfect. Oh gosh. Do I talk really slow? I don't feel like I talk slow. Ben Brown, 27.6% Ks, strikes out lefties a little bit more than he strikes out righties this season. Last year he struck out righties a little bit more than he did lefties. Struggles with more power to lefties. I think this is a spot you could potentially take some tournament shots on Ben Brown just because of the strikeout upside. I think they put an opener in front of Ben Brown. Do they? We'll see. I know they did it last time with Pomerantz, right? So watch this. If they put him as an opener, I don't like him as much. Because you never know when the opener is going to come out. I hate the opener situation. I understand it from the actual real life baseball perspective of the game, but watch that. Good point, Yeezy. If Ben Brown continues to be the starter and he's not a long reliever, I don't like the long reliever situation. I think you could take some tournament shots on him. Torkelson, Green, Perez, Dingler. I call him Dillinger. That's an old Roto-Grinders thing. Sweeney, Baez, they all have strikeout rates over 23% against right-handed pitching this season, so there's strikeout upside in this matchup. Problem is, Detroit has quietly became a team with a lot of pop. Not quietly for anybody that listens to the morning grind, because I've been talking about this since 2 years ago. I was like, this team has the makings of something really special, and it's getting there. Perez has pop, Meadows has pop, Carpenter, Green. So I'm on the fence. I definitely take myself off the fence if he gets an opener in front of him. Skubal on the other side. I love this spot. I love this guy. Just anytime he pitches, he's 11.5. He showed us the ceiling last time he faced Cleveland. That was 2 games ago. 50, I think, DK points. I will say I like the matchup a little bit more for Schwallenbach and the ballpark. A little bit more for Schwallenbach and the price. It's a $1,500 price difference. That game's coming up, so I'll talk about Schwallenbach in a minute, but I don't think you can ever go wrong with playing Tariq Skubal. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball, 80 ISO, 2.5% walks. His strikeout to walk ratio is 32.2%. It's one. If I think it was one of it was the highest in the league. I haven't looked lately, but it was the best in baseball. I'm sure it's probably still the best in baseball. It's just an incredible strikeout to walk ratio. Like it's elite. It's above elite status. Like when it's the best in baseball. So the matchup, I mean, Suzuki has been really good against lefties, but they're going to leave some of these lefties in there. Like Tucker at PCA probably stay in there. This guy is death to lefties, 0 ISO. He had like a 50 ISO last year against lefties. So they're going to put in some of these righties, like Turner, probably Matt Shaw. They probably both hit in this game. That's a benefit, I think, to Scoble as well. So, yeah, I mean, he's 11-5. You need him to have those ceiling games. Is this a spot he could have a ceiling game? I mean, if he can get around Suzuki, Kelly, Swanson, sure, but there's strikeouts here. This guy's he's so incredibly good. He's just so incredibly good. As far as the Cubs bats, I don't really have any interest. I'm not playing Cubs bats against one of the most elite pitchers in baseball. I love the Cubs. I talk about them all the time. I play them against everybody, but I don't like this matchup for them. As far as the Tigers bats, I mean, if you want to chase some power here, like I said, Ben Brown does typically struggle with like some lefty power, where he can give up a home run or two to lefties. He's been very unlucky this year. A lot of his expected stats are better than his actual stats. So, but if you want to play, it will be interesting. It wouldn't shock me. Like Easy brought up a good point with the opener. It wouldn't shock me if we saw Pomerantz open this game and then like Ben Brown comes in to face Torkelson. So they go like they go to Pomerantz to face like Meadows, Carpenter, and Green. But if Ben Brown starts this game, I think you could chase some home runs here with Meadows, Carpenter, Green. Don't think I'd stack that. And Perez, I don't mean to leave out Perez. I think Perez has a lot of upside as a baseball player. So, like, when I'm talking about the Tigers, if I ever leave out Perez, I'm just not used to him being back in the lineup yet. He's still really cheap. And he's been hitting really well since coming back. But he has plenty of upside. He's very young, too. I think he's like 24, 25. Like, this Detroit's core right now, I mean, if they can add a couple pieces, they are going to be seriously in contention. Carpenter homer today. Yeah, I mean, if there was ever a pitcher, right? Fastball pitcher. I know they said last Brown will start no opener. Okay. Yeah, I mean, pay attention. It's the morning of, so maybe we get more news throughout the day. I got Kansas City at Chicago taking on the White Sox. 8 total. Royals are 175 favorites. Seth Lugo, Davis Martin. Did you guys catch my guy, Noah Cameron, yesterday? I keep telling you guys, the guy is legit. Like, I don't want to compare him. It's so early. I don't want to compare him to like Greg Maddux, like I said the other day, but he reminds me a lot of him. I'm not saying he's anywhere near the league of Greg Maddux. I'm just saying, like, dude has pinpoint command and throws 4 different pitches, and Noah Cameron is fun to watch. Like, people like watching home runs. As a former pitcher, I really enjoy watching pitching, and Noah Cameron is so fun to watch. But let's start with Seth Lugo. You know, we have spent so much time picking on the White Sox this year. I don't think I necessarily love this spot for them or for Seth Lugo. It's just more of like, I think Lugo's going to get some ownership today. It's a big favorite. But he's 8,800. It's not like Seth Lugo is 70 or 7K. And his one really good start this year was against Houston, and he's really solid against righties. But I think there's going to be enough lefties in this lineup. I will say Robert. He said he ricocheted a ball off his helmet in batting practice. So he's struggling right now anyway. So I don't know necessarily what we expect this lineup to look like for the White Sox, but I don't know. Unless the lineup just comes out really, really bad. The problem is, like, the top half of the White Sox lineup is striking out a lot less right now. And if Robert's out of there, I mean, he's the big strikeout risk. He's just been striking out at a huge clip this season. So I think you're going to have to kind of play it by ear on Lugo. He's not my favorite pitcher by any means on this slate. I think he's going to get 15 to 20, 25% ownership. So that makes me not really love him overall. So we'll see what the lineup looks like. It could be a really bad lineup and you could potentially take some shots, but like he's not really cheap. Like you're paying $8,800 for a guy that has an 18.5% K rate. It's just a tough, like, Davis Martin, speaking of bad strikeout pitchers, Davis Martin is a well below average strikeout pitcher. He tries to pitch to contact. Unfortunately, the contact continues to be very hard, over 50% hard hit rate with a over 10% barrel rate. Like, this is the kind of guy we love to stack against. I mean, he has 14.5% K rate. So no interest in Davis Martin. Lot of interest here for me in the bats on the Royals. I mean, this team is so tilting. Man. I like Witt. I like Garcia. I like Pascantino. I like Jock. He got his first hit yesterday, right? Didn't he have like an RBI double yesterday? They priced him up a little bit. The one thing that I do like is they put him as outfield eligible again, so we can play Vinny P, and we can play the Italian duo here. I like the Royals. I think they're very much in play. He got his first double. Do we get his first home run here? This would be the spot. Below average strikeout pitcher. This would be a good spot. But yeah, I think the Royals are playable. The Royals are tilting, but I mean, I would stack against Davis Martin with just about any team in baseball. As far as the White Sox bats, well, I don't have a ton of interest in Lugo. I do think he could do a good enough job to not really like a full stack workout. He still tends to give up some home runs. So if you want to try to get a home run here out of like a Tachman, a Vargas, a Benintendi, I think overall it's kind of one of those weird spots where, like, if Lugo is 7K, I think we'd really be considering him in this spot. But the fact that he's so expensive, the fact that he's such a below average strikeout pitcher, his swinging strike rate's 7.5%. His whiff rate's 17%. Like, that is both of those numbers are just so incredibly low that even a team like the White Sox can hit this guy. So I don't know where I would necessarily attack him. If he does get some ownership, like I said, maybe a Tachman, Vargas, Benintendi. Elko, Elko's supposed to have some pop, if I remember correctly. So if you want to take some shots on him, but I don't know. We'll see. If you're a White Sox fan, I'm sorry. You're not in a good spot as an organization. Toronto at Minnesota. This game has an 8.5 total. It sounds like we're going to get like Lauer Fisher combo. Like Fisher should start, Lauer should long relief, like kind of been happening, and then Bailey Ober pitching for Minnesota. As far as the Toronto pitching situation, like, again, like Braden Fisher probably throws an inning or two, and then Eric Lauer comes in and throws 3 or 4 innings. Obviously I don't want to play Fisher. I don't want to play Lauer in this spot either. This team has plenty of upside against left-handed pitching, so just a bad spot overall for the Toronto pitching situation. Bailey Ober on the other side of this game. Just don't know what's going on with this guy. Like, there was a lot of like potential potential, and it just really hasn't been working out. It's not like he's necessarily getting blown up, but like he's not really striking anybody out. He's giving up a ton of hits. Like we're just not seeing like high upside games. I talked about him not having like a great spring, and it's kind of correlated right into the beginning of the season. So ground ball rate is down, fly ball rate is down, but his line drive rate is way up. So not seeing a lot here for Bailey Ober. This guy was a 27% K rate guy last year. Like that is to drop down this much is huge. Let's pull up his pitching profile really quick. So his fastball velocity 90.5. Last year is 91.7. So velocity is still down overall from him. Like what does velocity do? It's a 5% difference in whiff rate, but his changeup, like this is, I talk about this all the time, right? When your fastball is doing really well and you can play a changeup off of it, it makes a huge difference. So his fastball is down 1.2 on average. His changeup and all the rest of his pitches are the exact same speed. Spin on the changeup looks almost identical. It's a little different. His changeup last year had a 39.5% whiff rate. This year it's 30.2. If you're not getting your fastball velocity up and not being able to play your changeup off your fastball, you're going to struggle. And what's crazy is like the sweeper this year has been really good for him. But again, like when you're relying a lot on your fastball changeup combo, because even this year, last year and this year, he's around 67% with those two pitches. Like those are the two pitches he uses the most. If your combination's not working, you're going to get hit. And that's why he's gone from striking out 27% to striking out 18.5%. So, and we know for the longest time, like Toronto's awful against changeups, but if you're not being effective with it, yeah, I mean, I think I'm out on Ober. Hate stacking Toronto. Looking at it, I think you're looking at like Barger, Vlad, Bichette. I like Luke's. I know like he hasn't necessarily had a ton of power to start the year, but Luke's and Barger are both so cheap, and they can have games where they just both do really well. So I think Nathan Lukes is like a potential like really solid hitter. As far as the Minnesota bats, I mean, they're going to get the righty to start here. Castro's really good against lefties. So assuming that Correa is not back in this game, maybe he plays. We'll see. I know it was like a back injury for him. Buxton's in play against the lefty coming in. It's just like it's going to be a bullpen game. And the one hesitation that I do have here, and I know you probably hear the hesitation in like my voice, Minnesota has a top 5 bullpen. They're a very good bullpen. And they used a lot of their bad arms yesterday. So Athletics put it on them yesterday. So if we're getting, or I guess it's the Toronto bullpen. Toronto bullpen's decent too. They're a top 10 bullpen. I was thinking backwards there. I'm sorry. But Toronto bullpen is pretty good too. I don't know. Like Buxton's so expensive now. Wallner, lefty. I don't love. I mean, Jeffers. There's so many other catcher plays that I would rather play in a situation that like doesn't look like this. I think like Castro as a cheap second baseman makes us like the most sense here as like a one-off. San Diego at Milwaukee, 8.5 total in this game. Milwaukee, a 148 favorite. We got Vasquez and Patrick facing off against each other here. Randy Vasquez, 1.9% swinging or strikeout to walk ratio. Just a guy that has zero command. I'm going to tell you in a second on the bats. My favorite hitter on the entire slate is from this game. So don't like Vasquez at all. Easy fade. Chad Patrick, other side of this game, like slightly below average strikeouts against a team that is above average in strikeout rate. They don't strike out a ton. The bottom half of this lineup looks really ugly right now. I could see Chad Patrick if, gosh, I don't look at pricing. He's expensive too. I don't hate this spot for Chad Patrick. I wish he was a little bit cheaper, but I don't necessarily hate this spot for him. I could see him having like a solid outing. I could see him having like a solid outing. I think like Will Warren probably has a little bit more ceiling. Ben Brown probably has a little bit more ceiling. Maybe even like a Bryce Miller in this range, but I don't think there's like, I think outside of like Scoble and Schwallenbach, I was going to say this at the beginning and I forgot, but outside of like Scoble and Schwallenbach, I don't think there is like anybody else that like stands out. I think there's like a pool of guys that you could potentially play. So I think Patrick's okay. His fly balls worry me, especially with this game being in Milwaukee. Just the top half of this lineup's so good. The bottom half so bad. Like as far as the bats, I mean, you like Tatis, you like Merrill, you like Machado, you like Sheets, you like Cronenworth. So I think it's one of those situations where if you're playing 150, you probably get a little exposure to Patrick, and then you get a little exposure to the bats on the other side. Milwaukee bats, Christian Yelich is my favorite hitter by far, not even close. He's going to be my highest owned. He's going to be a bet that I'm looking at. I haven't pulled up bets yet. I'm going to do that probably after the podcast is over. But Yelich against fly ball guy that can't strike anybody out. Like, this is tailor-made Yelich spot. He could fail. Just want to say he could fail. For what it's worth. Like, it's baseball. He can go for 4. The best hitters in baseball against the worst pitchers in baseball can still go for 4. But on paper, there's not a better matchup today. There's not a better matchup. This guy has a 10% K rate, a 222 ISO, 393 WOBA, and he is a fly ball pitcher. Christian Yelich is a ground ball hitter, always benefits from playing against fly ball pitchers. He has a 268 ISO and a 372 WOBA. The guy has a 59% hard hit rate, but he hits the ball on the ground 57% of the time. You play him against fly ball pitchers, and it's an added bonus that this fly ball pitcher cannot get left-handed hitters out. I like Frelick a lot, too. Same reasonings. Frelick is a ground ball guy. We got Frelick the other day. Who was the fly ball pitcher that he faced the other day and he had a home run off of? But we got Frelick to get us a home run the other day. It was against the Reds. Was it? I think it was like Hunter Green or somebody. I can't remember. Love this spot for Yelich. I really like this spot for Frelick. I like this spot for Jake Bauers, Bryce Terang. I don't know if I'd go full stack here, but I would definitely consider it. Verandi Vasquez, awful. He continues to pitch in the majors for some odd reason. He gives up a lot of home runs, and he pitches in San Diego. When he's outside of this ballpark, I mean, he just, yeah. Like Yelich. I just wanted to throw his name out there one more time. I really like Yelich today. Dodgers Cardinals is where we go next. We got Justin Roblinski against Sonny Gray, 8.5 total in this game. Looks like a pick'em game. Slight. I mean, it's like a slight Cardinals side right now. So, I mean, we don't know really how deep Roblinski will go. He threw 45 pitches and then got sent back down. They have been working him in the minors as a starter. I would assume he throws like 75 to 85 pitches here. From what I've read on him, he has great stuff against lefties, but at times can struggle against righties. He's not like a huge prospect in the organization, but he's like, I think he's like their third or fourth pitcher prospect. He has a good fastball and slider combination, which can be really good. This is like he had I think he had elbow. I think it was elbow. And before his elbow, like he was a big prospect and was throwing like 97 and 99. And now he sits in like that 94 range, 94 to 95. So 7,500. I don't think a lot of people will take shots on him today. I definitely prefer left-handed pitching against the Cardinals. I think most of their better bats are right-handed, or left-handed. Sorry. So if they leave the lefties in there too, I think he has some upside. But I think you could fire some shots on him today in tournaments. I think again, I would put him in that like 75 to 85 range pitch wise. So I think he's playable in tournaments. It is Dave Roberts though, so you never know. Sonny Gray. I mean, there's plenty of times you can play Sonny Gray. He's still a really solid pitcher. I don't play right-handed pitching against the Dodgers. You could do it, and it could easily work out. He's not going to have any ownership today. It's just a really tough matchup. One of the best lineups in baseball. They continue to be one of the best lineups in baseball. So it's really tough. They're first in WRC+. They're first in WOBA. And they are third in ISO against righties this year. As far as the bats, I mean, Sonny Gray is good enough that I don't think I stacked the Dodgers today. Max Muncy has been crushing the baseball since he put glasses on. We look at the start of the season for Muncy and we look at since then. I mean, he has just been incredible. 6 home runs over his last 10 games. Just back to the Max Muncy we know and love. Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani, like, they all have upside in this matchup. It's just Sonny Gray's a good pitcher, so I don't want to like go completely crazy here. As far as the Cardinals, Herrera, I love Herrera against lefties. He's 4,800 though. He's so expensive, and I think like going back to like the Stevenson conversation, the Diaz conversation in the Houston game, I think we're gonna probably spend down at catcher. But if you're gonna spend up, Herrera is awesome against left-handed pitching. Mets and Rockies, 10.5 total. Mets a 325 favorite. Senga against Sensatella. I think Senga is going to get some ownership today. And I agree with it. Like, I think that any pitcher against the Rockies, even in cores, is playable. If he gets an uncomfortable amount, maybe you could go underweight on him. I don't think this is a fade him type of spot with the pitchers that we have today. He should go out and pitch really well. The one downside that I will say, and I know you all hear me say this all the time, but I say it because it's important. His last start was against this team. It's a little different because his pitches will look a little different. So I don't know if that benefits him or if it benefits them. But I think it's worth noting. And I think it's worth taking some shots on Senga today for sure. Sensatella is awful. Rockies, I'm here. Call me. I start rehab on Monday for my shoulder, so just give me a call. It'd take me about 6 months, but I had a steroid shot, man. I think I told you guys on the podcast the other day. My arm's feeling good today. You get those steroid shots, and it's like the worst for like 24 to 48 hours, and then you feel like invincible. You're like, all right. You can give me a call, Rockies. I'm just telling you, I might be able to pitch better than Sensatella. The Mets are a top stack today. I mean, they're in cores. They're expensive. But they're a top stack today. It's like a fit them in type of spot. The bottom half of the lineup is still pretty cheap, so I think you're going to play one or two of Lindor, Soto, Alonso. It makes it a lot easier if Lindor out of the lineup. He fractured his pinky toe the other day. So if he's out of the lineup, like, then it makes it a little bit easier to stack this team. But yeah, I mean, this is a great spot for the Mets. Sensatella is awful. 11% Ks, 204 ISO, 430 WOBA. bad. He's bad. The Rockies, I mean, outside of just playing them because it's cores, I don't think this is a good spot for them. Beck and Goodman are the two that I typically play. I like McMahon. I don't think McMahon finishes the season in a Rockies jersey. Seattle at LA. We got Bryce Miller going up against Kyle Hendricks. Seattle 148 favorite in this one. Let's start here with Bryce Miller. My problem with Bryce Miller, and I've said it all year, is his inability to get hitters out right now, and it continues to be an issue. His last good game was the Angels. The problem with this spot is he has really struggled with right-handed power bats. This lineup is just full of right-handed bats with power. If Bryce Miller starts to get some ownership on this slate, I definitely want to stack the Angels. So this would be an ownership thing more than anything else. I think he'll get some ownership. I could see taking some shots on him, but I think he gets some ownership today. So it'd be an ownership. Like the strikeout matchup is great. They strike out a ton, but he's a below average strikeout pitcher. So it'd be an ownership thing. If Bryce Miller's not getting in an ownership, sure. But I think he's going to get hit hard in this game. I think Kyle Hendricks is going to get hit hard in this game too. If you can find this line still at 9, you might want to take the over in this game. Kyle Hendricks is awful. Below average strikeout pitcher, just doesn't miss bats anymore. I say he's awful. He was really good in his prime. I like Polanco. I like Cal Riley. I like Rowdy Tellez, Rosarina, Julio Rodriguez, JP Crawford. Who's the young second baseman they just called up? Cole Young is 2K. Minimum salary second baseman sounds awesome. Awesome. And he's a big prospect. He was one of their top prospects coming in. Like he's fast. So Cole Young at 2K, part of your stack, even towards the bottom of the order, I think is fine. You can run on Hendricks too, which I think is good. But he's kind of started slow. This might be the spot that he needs to get going against a pitcher like this. Angels power righties. Trout, Ward, Soler, Ohapi, Odell, Neto, all in play for me today. Bryce Miller on the season, 370 WOBA, 182 ISO against righties. A lot of hard contact, really giving up a ton of barrels to righties. So if I remember, I probably stacked the Angels against him last time this happened, and it didn't work out well for me, but I'm going to try it again. They're still outside of like Neto and Trout, pretty cheap. Ward just continues to be underpriced. This guy has 17 home runs, and he's 4,300. Baltimore at the Athletics. 11 total in this game. Baltimore 142 favorite. We got Kramer and Sears facing off against each other here. Dean Kramer, another below-average strikeout pitcher that struggles with left-handed power, which might be an issue for him in this matchup against this team. So don't really love this spot for Kramer. There's always those games that like the Athletics struggle and strike out a lot. He's really cheap, so you could potentially take some shots on him in large field stuff. I just don't like him. JP Sears is so interesting today. Bet you didn't see that one coming, right? He's 6,300. We don't really have like a punt pitcher today. This lineup is really bad against left-handed pitching. Oh, I forgot to mention Langoliers, by the way, left the game early on Thursday, so he probably sits here. There is a report that Jordan Westbrook could come back from Baltimore today. O'Neal's getting close, but like Mountcastle's on the IL too. Like they are missing all of their Laureano. unless like Laureano and Westberg have been playing in AAA this week, so like unless they both get called back today and the lineup just looks overall better, watch the lineup when it comes out. I'll say that. Let's say that. Let's talk that aspect. Sears could potentially be interesting today just because the Baltimore lineup is really bad. With that said, JP Sears has really struggled with right-handed power this year. They don't have a lot of it, but he's really struggled with right-handed power this year. So look at the lineup. If we get some pieces in this lineup that look really good, it's like, all right, it's full go. It will be interesting. But I mean, I will say, like, overall, I want to play Baltimore in this spot, but the lineup could be atrociously bad. So we'll see when this lineup comes out. It's a later game too, so there won't be a lot of time to adjust, which is always good ownership-wise. As far as the athletic bats, Soderstrom, Butler, two of my favorite hitters on the slate. Again, Kramer struggles with left-handed power. Both these guys have a lot of power. If Bangaliers is out of there, that stinks. Wilson's been awesome this year. Rooker, Blade. I think the Athletics are always in play when they're in this ballpark, especially against a pitcher that like is a below average strikeout pitcher. He's good. He's decent against righties though. All right, we finish it out. Atlanta at San Francisco, 7.5 total in this game. The Braves a slight 135 favorite. Schwellenbach against Birdsong. I think the decision today between Scoble and Schwellenbach is close. Scoble has way more ceiling, but the Giants lineup is so bad right now. They're dealing with some injuries, and this lineup is just not the best in the world. So yeah, I mean, for me, I like Schwellenbach. I would say 1A, 1B when considering price. So yeah, I mean, I like Schwellenbach a lot. I still probably try to get Scoble in there if I can, just because I'm a sucker. Birdsong has been really, really good against righties this year, which definitely helps him in this matchup because three of the best hitters in this lineup are right-handed: Acuna, Riley, Ozuna. Problem with Birdsong is he just hasn't put together many good starts. It's good that he's back out of the bullpen. I don't think this is a bullpen arm. I think that they should have given him more of a chance. But he's not going to go too deep in this game. He has strikeout upside. He really struggles with left-handed power, which makes Olsen interesting. But again, he's done really good against righties. He's been awesome against righties this year. 26% Ks, 83 ISO, 250 WOBA. So I wish, again, like pricing on these pitchers are so interesting, but I think you could potentially take some shots on him, hoping that like he just keeps the ball in the ballpark and has some strikeout upside, throws 5 clean innings with like 4 to 7 strikeouts. Bats, I mean, I like Olsen. I don't know if I like him enough to play him as a one-off, but he would be like the guy that I'd be looking at here. Acuna against everybody right now. He's back. It's fun to watch. He's fun to watch baseball. I think it's interesting that he doesn't have a stolen base yet. Something to kind of watch. Overall, I don't have a ton of interest in either side. I don't have any interest in the Giants side of this game. Ramos and Chapman, but Schwellenbach has just been awesome against righties this year. 29% Ks, 2% walks, 70 ISO, 230 WOBA, 53% ground balls. Like, he's just been awesome against righties. So, whew, all right. The morning breakdown hits so much differently. I can hear my kids yelling in the background. I hope that you guys can't hear them, but I can hear my kids yelling in the background. Before we get into the morning grind game, if you haven't already, make sure you go over to the YouTube page here on the morning grind, youtube.com/@morninggrind. Hit that subscribe button. I'll think of a fun giveaway when we get to 2,000 subscribers, and a way for everybody to participate. So Appreciate it. Let's get into the morning grind game, and then I will send it off for the weekend. Under 8K to get 6 or more strikeouts. I'm going to go to the young pitcher with the Dodgers here. Give me Robleski. I think he has some upside in this matchup. Over 8K to score under 15. I'm going to go to Bryce Miller. I get it. I could see him definitely having a good game. He's just really struggled this year with right-handed power, and they have a lot of it. Over 4K to hit a home run. You guessed it. You knew it already. Christian Yelich. Under 4K to score 10-plus points. I did not write this one down. Oh, I'm going to go to the Houston-Cleveland game, and we are going to go to... Let's go to Christian Walker against the lefty. He's gonna get the job done for us today. Stack to score 6 or more runs. I think there's a ton of options, but give me the Brewers. Going back to 2024, give me the Brewers against Randy Vasquez today. Appreciate everyone for hanging out. Again, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for being here. Have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you all again on Monday.